Hello everyone, Tina here. I hope you're having a lovely day. I'm so glad you're joining me. Thanks for clicking on the video. Today we are creating a card. We are using the collection that I designed for Spellbinders called Make It and Bake It. We are using Fluff, Frost, and Roll. We're using Measuremates, and we're using the Confection Companions embossing folder. We're going to use some measuring cups from here and also the cookie jar. From here, we're going to load it up with utensils, and then we're going to create a real plain background. Actually, I'm just going to emboss white cardstock because the front of my card is going to be pretty busy. Okay, so we're going to jump in and get started. We're going to do lots of die cutting for step number 1, and we're going to create our focal point. I mentioned we are going to be using these two die sets, the cookie jar with the lid, and then the 3 measuring cups we'll use from here. And then I'm going to die cut out the flower, and then basically everything but the greeting and the piping bag in here. My color palette today is going to be Pinkalicious. I went through all of my cardstock. This is not just Spellbinders color wheel. There's some older Hero Arts cardstock in here. There's some Paper Tray ink cardstock in here. I mixed and matched them because I wanted 6 different shades of pink for my card today. And then I'm also bringing in yellow and then 2 shades of green. We're going to create some yellow flowers with some green leaves and a yellow cookie jar with the lid here. So I'm going to do some die cutting. First, I ended up creating 5 flowers, okay? What I had did was just used one of my blending tools here. I grabbed a little bit of my orange ink. This is Simon Says Stamp Sherbet. And we'll add a little ink here. And then I'm just going to go over the top layer, adding a little bit of... This part never has to be perfect. But I just went over the top layer of the flower. I'm going to add a dot of glue, layer 2 together. And that's how I created my flower. Now, when you die cut out the leaves, you die cut out the flower centers. I always like to keep these because when I do die cut these out, I can layer. If I want a white flower center, I'll go back in and die cut out a white leaf because you can always ink blend on white leaves. But I keep these 2 because when you layer 2 together, you have dimension. But we're not using them today. I'm going to use some gems. So those are going to go to the side. Okay? And then for my leaves, we're going to add a little bit of color using my Simon Says stamp. This is Field. I already did some leaves. I did light and dark. And all I did, this doesn't have to be perfect either. I just go over the edge darkening up for both of these. And that's all there is to my leaves. I'm not going to do my rolling pin because we're going to actually stamp our greeting on the rolling pin. So I'm going to put this to the side and we'll wait for step 3 for that. I did use some of my silver mirror cardstock. Spellbinders doesn't sell this anymore, but they do have a Treasured Series cardstock that has a white backing that you can use. I'll link it down below. But I use silver here, and then for my measuring cups, this little ring that you can connect them all with, I die cut out with some gold cardstock. Okay, I am going to bring in my spoon, and we're going to add a little bit of glue. And this little funny looking piece here goes behind the hearts on the spoon. So you can make those hearts a different color on the spoon. It just makes it easier. The easiest way to do that is to just follow along the curve of the spoon, like that. And then your hearts are covered. Okay, and then you can also add a bottom piece to the spoon. But this is going to basically be covered. So this is, you can skip this step, adding this bottom piece, because like I mentioned, it will be covered because we're going to tuck it in our cookie jar. Okay, and then we have our little spatula or scraper. I call them spatulas. I call these spatulas and then these spatulas. Okay, we're going to layer this pink on top of here, and then we're going to add a bottom. Again, these are not necessarily because we're going to be tucking these. They're not going to be outside, they're going to be inside. So you don't have to add the bottom, but they sure look cute when you do add the bottom. Okay, we have our whisk. I'm going to go with the I have my, well, let's do our measuring cups next. Now for my measuring cups, before we add the top pieces to the measuring cups, what I'm going to do is do a little bit of ink blending with some pink ink. Let's see, I'm going to bring in my peony. Cover this up so it doesn't dry out. And we're going to add a little extra color with peony, just on the bottom. I think I can get away with peony with all of these. There we go. I'm also going to add a little color to my spatula. We'll just do a little blending. And let's go over our spoon too. Wonderful. Now we can add a little bit of glue to the very top of our measuring cups. And then we can add the little pieces that go in there. Those are our measuring cups. And then, in case you guys are new, this little ring has an opening in it that you can add the measuring cups to. And we were going to add the small size. I went 3. When I designed this, I went 3 on the measuring cups and then 3 on the measuring spoons because I think 5 was too much. And I think 3 is the perfect amount. And so that's the only reason I did the 3. Now, we need to add the handle to here. And I was looking, I know I die cut out a light pink. A light pink. I just got to find it. Maybe my kitty knocked it over. And I think she did because I found it. We're going to do a light pink on the whisk. Just layer those over. If you wanted to, you could put the ring through the handles of these two also. I think that looks really cute. So there's the whisk, and then for the spatula, you're not really going to be able to see the handle of this. But let's add this color. We haven't used this color for here. And there we go. So those are our utensils. Okay, the rolling, and then I did keep the little hearts. I don't know if we'll use those or not, but we have them. I'm going to add a little bit of orange ink to the edge of the cookie jar here. We're going to bring in a little bit more orange. But I just want it subtle. Or just on one side too. Maybe on one side of the lid. Before we fill our cookie jar with the utensils, I thought we would add some twine. Technically this is an embellishment, but I'm going to do it before so I can glue my utensils behind here. Okay, so there's that. Okay, I'm going to put these to the side. I'm not going to fill it just yet because I want to put my rolling pin in here too. So these go to the side. Now we're moving on step number 2, and we're going to create our home panel. Vista View window die set. This was part of the Windows with a View collection that I designed for Spellbinders. Not last year, but the year before. Okay, so I thought we would put this to good use. Spellbinders still has this in the shop in case you guys missed out, but this is a fabulous die set, and it creates a wonderful window and background. And I'm going to die cut out a window. I always like to center it because I can use the negative piece as a frame. So this is going to cut out a window paned window. And then I'm also going to die cut out this. This is a window seal. And then I'm also going to take this outline and I'm going to cut this out with white cardstock. I think I can get both of these on here. Okay, this is what it looks like. This is... Okay, we're going to keep this white. I'm actually going to go ahead and add some adhesive behind here. And we're going to tack this down over the bottom here. Okay, once this is done, I want a little color in my background, and I want a whole bunch of pink. So I'm going to bring my peony ink in. I need a towel because I only have a dark pink blending brush, so I have to be able to wipe it off. So let's add a little peony. Okay, peony, let's add a little bit of rhubarb. I think rhubarb, I can use my orange. Okay, A little bit of rhubarb here. Maybe, I think sweets is pretty similar, but let's check out we're going to add a little bit of sweets. I think that's going to make a great background. So we have a buffet of pinks in this background. And it is a little blotchy, but I don't mind because it's, again, this is going to be filled, but I did want different colors. Let's go ahead and clean off my work surface. I'm going to flip this over and put foam tape behind it, and I'm going to pop it up and layer this on the background. So now we have a little bit of dimension on our home panel. I don't think we've did that before. So that's our home panel. Okay, let's move on to step number 3 and stamp our greeting. Now I mentioned that this is where our rolling pin comes in. I didn't add these yet because I wanted it to be a flat surface. I'm bringing in my stamp set. This is the Sentiment stamp set called Sugared Expressions. It goes with the Make It and Bake It collection. And I'm going to stamp Just Roll with it, but we're going to do a little bit of masking off because I don't want the loopies on the Just Roll with it. I'm going to use my low tack tape, and I'm going to mask off the loopies on this side. I'm also going to do it on this side. So once we have that masked off, I'm going to use Memento ink, and I'm going to ink this up. And then I'm just going to remove my masking. This looks like Scotch tape, but it's not. It's a low tack tape that I use for securing my dies. Okay, I'm going to take this. I want the just starting at the top here, and I'm going to stamp this as close to the top of the rolling pin that I can, because we're going to tuck this. And I'm going to stamp this. Wonderful. And then we can add a little bit of glue. And there we go. That will be my greeting. Okay, let's fill up our cookie jar with all of our elements. We're not going to fill it up with rolling pin, or we're not going to use the measuring cups or the whisk. Okay? And then I'll flip this around, and we're going to add this right in the center of our window. Wonderful. And then we're going to add our measuring cups. To me, this didn't look very fancy, but wait until you add the green and the flowers. This just makes it pop. Okay, so I'm going to bring back my foam squares. I'm going to put one behind each of my flowers. We're going to do a little tucking and fill it with lots of flowers. Now I'm going to add the green leaves. I'm going to add a light leaf and a dark leaf to each one of my flowers. I just love when you add the green, how it just takes it to the next level. It's amazing what a little extra color will do. And I think it looks so fun. And there we go. Okay, that's assembled. Now we're going to move on to step 4, which is our background. And I mentioned it's going to be really basic. So all I'm doing is bringing in some white cardstock, and I'm going to use my Confection Companions embossing folder. I'm going to go ahead and glue this down to the front of my card base. When you glue this, you just want to make sure that your oven mitt is right side up. I always mention that my card base sizes are way off, and this one is way off too. So I need to trim it. And now we're going to take our home panel and just add some adhesive. Well, maybe we'll just use some glue. We'll add some glue. Glue's better when you add a home panel to an embossing folder because of all the raised areas. This just is a lot nicer. We're going to add this to the center. Okay, now moving on to step 5, it's time to embellish. And I'm going to bring in some of my Color Essential gems. I didn't want to use gold, I didn't want to use silver. So I thought green looked really pretty, making the pink pop. So I thought we'd use some green gems. So I'm just going to pick these up and add maybe a medium size to each one of the flower centers. And okay, that will finish my card today. I think that would make anybody's day. And I like the green, it says just roll with it. I say that all the time. But that's my card project using my Make It Bake It collection from Spellbinders. I hope this gives you a little bit of inspiration. Have a wonderful day. Thanks so much for joining me, and we'll see you soon. Bye-bye. Thanks so much for sticking with me to the end. I have 2 more videos that you guys might be interested here. If you guys are new and like the content that you see, click that subscribe button and also the notification bell. That way for future videos, be notified. Also, if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. It sure does help the channel. Have a wonderful day. We'll see you soon. Bye-bye.